Hey everyone, welcome back to the Quality Connect YouTube channel. I'm Trevor and this is the founder of Quality Connect, Andrew Wellwood. Andrew, thanks for coming out again today.
My pleasure.
And today we're going to be talking about permits and inspections. Now, Mark Twain said, do the right thing. It'll gratify some people and astonish the rest. Not getting building permits is always a bad idea, and it can cost you time and money.
Yes. And you'd be amazed the number of people that try and cheat that process.
Yeah, I believe it because, you know, they think it's going to be a hassle dealing with the city and getting those permits, and just not knowing the process, I think, is part of the problem. So they want to try and cheat that system and try and get ahead.
Yes.
So what are some of the stages that the city of Edmonton inspects a home?
Well, other than there's the initial inspections on your permits, your development permit, your building permit. They go through and check your plans to make sure you have all the information, what your building meets code, meets the area requirements and everything like that. Then once you start construction, they'll inspect the foundation. Make sure your foundation's in, you've got weeping tile prior to backfill. After backfill, you've got your framing inspection to make sure everything is structural, electrical, plumbing groundworks, HVAC. After that, you have your insulation inspection to make sure your house is inspected properly.
Okay.
And then you have your final inspection prior to move-in, your occupancy inspection.
Occupation, that's a very different term.
Yes, yeah. Some people should have an occupation inspection. That's a different topic. Oh yeah.
So is an inspection by the city good enough to rely on as a builder?
No, but it's definitely something you should not skip. There are developments in Stony Plain and different houses that have skipped the inspection process. It is not something you should do, but it is a safety inspection. They're safety codes officers, so they're checking for safety, like electrical, to make sure you're not going to burn down.
Right.
They're not checking to make sure everything's at the right height, that you've got, they don't care if you've got your TV wiring. That doesn't matter. You can have a house without TV. They don't care about that kind of thing. They don't know which way your doors are swinging, so they're not inspecting what side the switches are on or anything like that.
Right.
They're checking to make sure you have the right number of plugs, right number of switches. You've got your carbon monoxide and carbon, your fire alarm wired in. They're making sure they're wired and synced together. Like they're there to make sure the house is safe for you, which is a great thing to have. You absolutely need that, but they're not checking to make sure it's built to the blueprint, that it's functional for a house. They're not there for that aspect.
Okay, so now you're assuming that there's going to be more inspections coming. So not just satisfied with the city inspectors, you recommend having other inspectors come in to look at the house?
Well, a builder should walk through at every stage. The builder should walk through, I believe, every day.
Right.
After framing or even during framing, to make sure that everything's going according to the print. Then they're not coming up with a huge, having to do a walkthrough, call multiple trades back. It's a lot easier to get a trade to do something when they're already on site.
Right.
Walking through a house doesn't take that long. Walk through it with the framer, chat with them about how things are going, what they need next. And, as you're walking through, keep an eye out. See what see how they're doing, what they need to do, any changes that you might need to catch ahead of time. But as a builder, you should do a framing inspection yourself. Don't rely on the city. The city doesn't care if your drywaller has backing or if your wall is going like this. They're there to make sure it's structurally sound.
Right.
So you should, as a builder, be doing all your own inspections as well as the city to make sure that it's done right. Okay.
Now, how would an inspection from a certified home inspector differ from the city inspection?
Well, they're looking for, is the tap leaking? Do we have, the city does a great job at looking at insulation for an insulation inspection as an example, but after the city has signed off on it, they're not coming back. So if you bring someone in to change something, to move stuff, insulation gets kicked around, the city isn't coming back to inspect that. So if you bring an inspector in with a heat gun, They can see if you have any cold spots. They can see if you've got a moisture leak. They can see a lot of things that, might not be caught by the city, because the city isn't coming. The city doesn't have 6 hours to do a home inspection.
Right.
They have 45 minutes to do an inspection, and then they're moving on to the next one. So they're not looking for that. They're not checking every plug to make sure it works. They're, they're not checking every light bulb. They're not checking, they're not checking the roof.
Right.
That's where a third-party home inspector is invaluable.
Wow. That's a new thing for me. I haven't heard of builders doing that, having a third party coming in. Is that something that you do on a regular basis?
It's something I do on a regular basis. It's not a common practice for home builders. There are third-party inspectors that aren't that reliable. Like every trade and every business, there are some that aren't the best. And some builders, you're dealing with a little bit of ego. They don't want to be told by somebody how to build a house. We've been doing this for 30 years. We're not changing now. We are the best, and how dare you question what we do? So there's a little bit of ego in on some points, and cost.
Right. Yeah. And that's always something you got to keep an eye on. But a penny saved is a penny earned, or an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Yeah. Right. So where do you see inspections heading in the future?
Well, I know a lot of home inspectors would love to be called in at every new home construction.
Oh, of course.
Everybody loves work and more money. But I think it should be something. I think it's going to start. There's going to be a trend that starts going a little bit further that way, especially with these smaller independent inspectors. And when you deal with something where there's not a large barrier to the industry, I believe that at some point, I think if we don't regulate ourselves as builders, the city's going to start regulating it for us. When you can get anybody into a home builder category, you can get a realtor in who has no home building experience building homes. If they're the builder walking through doing the site inspections, they're going to miss things. That's not their specialty. So I believe it's going to start coming around as a little more of a consistent thing, which is going to be great for a lot of the smaller builders. Some of the larger builders, I work with some of the larger builders that have been, they're 2 or 3 generations in, and chatting with this builder who's a small builder on site, the wealth of knowledge that I get from them is amazing. They've been in it for their entire life. Their dad made them sweep out homes after school, and they know so much about it. It's going to be rough for them to take a third-party inspection. And as strange as it is, they're some of the people that welcome it because their industry gets a bad rap.
Yeah, and they know. They know better.
Yeah, they know, and it's usually entertaining for the home inspector to come through because he wanders through and the builder's already either checked everything off or has a list that he is going to work on, and it matches the homeowner or the home inspector's list.
Just having that confirmation, right?
Yeah, well, it's a $500,000 house. Why not have a second set of eyes? And the peace of mind to the homeowner or the home buyer is great. You've got a builder that says we did it according to code and exactly the way we should have, and it's done right. And then you get a third-party inspector in, and they say the same thing. That homeowner is going to be thrilled with the product that they get. And if you don't take care of your customers, somebody else will. So what a great word of mouth that homeowner is going to spread. This is my builder. They did a great job. They brought an inspector in. Also said I did a great job, or they let my inspector in who also said I did a great job. We're super happy with our home. Build with this builder. What a great referral.
That is awesome. I think everybody should be doing that and paying attention to what we're saying here on the Quality Connect YouTube channel.
Yes.
So what other companies will do an inspection on a new home build?
Well, I know if you talk to any homeowner, they got a brother-in-law that'll do an inspection for sure. Father-in-law.
Buddy.
Yeah, buddy from high school that spent a summer sweeping houses. He'll do a home inspection for you for sure for a case of beer. Yeah. No, third party, a new home inspection is usually the best one to get. Depending on your bank, they will have home inspectors come through as well. I think the more eyes on your project, the better. You know, as a home builder, I don't want to do warranty work. You know,
Right.
I want to, you know, and the homeowner doesn't want me to do warranty work either.
Right.
Nobody wants warranty work. They want the home, they want to move in, and, you know, maybe a Christmas card from the home builder is their only communication for the next year.
Right.
You know, that's what everybody wants. So, you know, bringing in a couple inspectors prior to a homeowner moving in, if that's what it takes, I would rather hire a home inspector, get it all done with, have a happy customer that, you know, I'm not dodging,
Yeah.
you know, or I can build my house in the area where I built a bunch of houses and have happy neighbors and happy homeowners. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me, because taking care of, like you said, taking care of the customer is the best way to eliminate callbacks, and callbacks cost money.
yes,
Anytime that you're going back to a job site to finish something or change something or correct any work, you are losing your profits on that job. So it makes a lot of sense to spend, you know, $300 or $400 on an independent inspection to go through your entire project from soup to nuts, making sure that everything is right and tight for the new home.
yeah. And, you know, if you hire good quality trades, you don't have to worry. You know, it's an easy job for the home inspector. It's an easy job for you. Service work is low to non-existent. You know, spend a bit of money at the start, get a great product, great referral from a happy customer, great home inspection report. There you go.
Awesome.
Off to the races.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Andrew. That was very informative, and I know that you guys are getting a lot out of this. And if so, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and leave a comment. And we'll talk to you guys later.